proper into J2, but we're going off it a bit now. Can't be
It's very expensive as well, isn't it?
It depends where you shop, though.
And if you go to the pub, like, not that I've been to the pub recently, but if you do and you drink J2s, you end up drinking loads of them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Like £3.80 of J2.
Yeah, you may as well just go back on the beer if you're going to do that. It's a waste of time.
Yeah, because that's the reason you don't drink alcohol, because it's quite expensive.
Yeah, you know what makes me laugh when they say, like, we're going to put a tax on, like, you know, alcohol pops or cheap drinks because that's going to stop people drinking. I just think, well, it's not, is it? Like, if you're like an alcoholic or whatever, or you're just like, you love drinking, binge drinking, whatever, you're just going to cut down on other things like food and electricity rather than your beer.
Cocaine addicts don't go, oh, it's illegal, this. Not gonna do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's never like...
You have slightly less before you have to rob your nan. That's really all it means.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, we'll move swiftly on anyway before we get too deep into nan robbing, because she never pressed charges, so you know it's only allegedly. We've got no Scotty tonight, but he'll be back, so we'll crack on without him. We're just going to talk about Brazil, Argentina.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a mad one. This. So Argentina, I think they've got 4 players from the UK that essentially are not supposed to be in Brazil because of COVID-19 rules, which mean that you have to isolate for 14 days if you come from the UK. And they basically just ignored that. And then 2 days later, when the game kicks off 4 minutes in, the health officials just showed up and said, "No, can't play this anymore. You need to leave the country." It's just a normal thing to happen in a football match.
Not only can you not play, you have to leave the whole country as well. Why didn't I love how they made a scene out of it, and they did it after the game had started. They could have just gone in the dressing room and said, "This isn't being played."
Yeah,
they knew where these players were for at least 90 minutes before the game kicked off. They were in that stadium. The teams were announced. So it's like, I wonder if this is the same Lionel Messi that's not allowed to play in this game. Let's wait until they've kicked off, and then we'll make a decision on it. It probably is the same one, isn't it? I like the sort of the posturing and the sort of the show of it from the Brazilian health organization, because it's just like, you could have done this so much more calmly, but they wanted to do it after kickoff, stop the game, make a big fuss. I quite respect that, to be honest.
It's a bit like is it like a Power League or the Soccer Dome when you're playing like 5-a-side and you're not paid and they kick you off because there's like someone else that's double booked the same pitch as you.
You know, I used to work at the Soccer Dome. I used to have such a nightmare with that. Funnily enough, people not paying or people staying on when they've after the game's finished and like just refusing to go. You have to turn the lights off and just stuff like that, man. You're like, come on, what are you doing? Yeah, it is a bit like that. It's almost identical, to be honest with you.
It's the same thing. World Cup qualifier, powered
Leeds versus the Red Lion at Trafford is pretty much the same as Brazil versus Argentina. Yeah,
I was at a 5-a-side thing once where that happened, Jay. Where like, say we had like 7 till 8, and then it was like 8:05, no one's turned up. 10:08, no one's turned up. We're like, right, this is good. And then at 8:15 or like 17 minutes past 8, the other team turned up. It wasn't like a league. It was just like whoever booked it next. They turned up. But do you remember that rule that people used to say when you're at school, where you're like, if the teacher's more than 15 minutes late, you're allowed to leave?
You're legally allowed to leave.
Legally allowed to leave. This rule that was never verified by anyone, but just everyone knew it. My mates tried to enforce that at a 5-a-side. They were like, right, it's past 15 minutes. We're legally entitled to this pitch now. You haven't turned up. You're not allowed it, even though you paid 90 quid to have it for an hour. You're more than 15 minutes late. Legally, it's ours because we were here. And they were like, what are you on about? Like, I don't know, school or something. Same thing. Just not a rule at all, is it?
Like when I was at the Soccer Dome, like one of my jobs was to blow the whistle on the hour and half hour. Right, that was literally it. Right, and then you clear up all the bottles and everything afterwards. But it's like I used to say, this is the most stupid, like mundane, most simple job I've ever had in my life. Like you're just blowing a whistle every half an hour, and yet I'd still miss it sometimes. I'd still not blow the whistle on. I'd be sat in the bar chatting to my mate or whatever. And then I'd look up and I'd realise it was 22. And I'd think, shit. And I'd run down and there'd be like teams arguing. Like, the guy's not been with the whistle yet. Oh, it's well gone off past, mate. What you on about? And then I'd rock up and just like blow the whistle and be like, where the fuck have you been? Wow. Sorry, lads. But yeah.
Did you have a ref?
Yeah. And it was the worst experience of my life, right? Because I went from soccer lad So I used to do bar work. That was my main job I did. And I only did like every Thursday night.
Changing the channel to Sky Sports 2.
Yeah, just, mate, honestly, it was fucking like so basic. But I worked there one summer when I was at uni because my mate was like the manager there. And when I graduated, I was a freelance journalist and I still needed like, you know, money. So I did one night a week there on a Thursday night. And it was fucking horrible, right? Because I'd be in a bar and if they were short of refs, because I used to play five-a-side, I'm not a qualified ref, but I played there myself. So if they were short of refs, they'd say to me, "Can you ref?" And like give you a bit extra cash in hand, sort of thing. And it was fucking grim because you'd be in a bar, be on the bar, you'd go and ref, right? And the teams always kicked off. There was always dramas. Like it was always one of those
head high.
Yeah, like that. And the people have just fallacies of logic. Like, you know, like I remember like one lad, he had a shot. And it went in, and it was like a shot that just went in, right? And 7 minutes later, another lad had a shot that went well overhead, right, and went in. And I didn't give it, and he went, "Well, you just give the other one." And I was like, "Well, the other one wasn't the same as this one." Like, you know, just stupid fucking arguments like that. And like, what had happened was, I'd ref, and then there'd always be kickoffs and fucking arguments and all this shit. And then you go in the bar, and then you come in the bar. And then carry it on, you know, because they'd see you behind the bar and they'd be like, "Oh, fucking hell, what you doing? You're not even in a ref." And you'd be like, "Oh, for fuck's sake." Honestly.
You're not even a ref. We thought you were Mike Dean, but actually, you're just a bartender. What standard of ref did you think you were getting at
And I used to, and also, I'd fucking be stood there reffing in my fucking bar uniform. So I don't know why they were
with a penny on and a little thing. And
I'd be wearing like black shirt.
Or is that's just you're just writing down orders?
I want to get changed. I just fucking do it in my normal fucking bag here and then go back on the bar.
I wonder why you had chef's whites on.
Yeah. and it was always the teams that were shit at football as well that gave you the most grief. You know, like fucking just kicking off.
Did you not fine anyone?
No, I hated, right? I hate because you used to get blue cards, didn't you? Blue card someone, a sin bin, and then red card. I don't think I ever red carded anyone. I blue carded like a couple of guys, like, you know, just getting in your face and all that, just mate, fuck off. And then like what I usually did, they're usually always on a team, there'd be someone who's all right, like or the guy who's organised it. Like, you know, like the ref calls over the captain. I just call him over and be like, "Listen, if you don't sort his fucking head out, I'm just gonna end the game and give them the win." Do you know what I mean? Because then they lose 10-0 and they don't get the money back either. So like, I never really had too many dramas, but it used to be a bit rowdy. Like at soccer, like refs have been done in and fucking all sorts. And we used to have this ref called Eric, who was he was 70 odd, right? I don't know if he's still alive now. I don't know.
Sorry, imagine actually like doing in a referee
in the soccer dome.
Yeah, mate. There was a guy called Robbo, right? This ref called Robbo, and he was a bit of a nana, right? He wore glasses, just a dick. But
enjoy five-a-side. I just beat up a referee. Actually, it's in hospital.
Our kids' team were playing one day, and Robbo was reffing, and they were playing this team from like the end, like long side or Moss side or whatever. And the fucking subs ran on and swatted the ref. And like, he wore glasses and that, and all his glasses were smashed and all that. Because they were just fucking running around kicking everyone, this team. And like, the refs just like started blue carding them all or whatever. And he just fucking, the subs just ran on and like milled him. And like, everyone's like, and this is when our kid was, this is when our kid was only like 17 or whatever. And he's like, him and his mates are like, fucking hell. Honestly, it was a nightmare. And do you remember the night that Didier Drogba kicked off in the Champions League?
Yeah.
When Barcelona went through. And he was like, "Oh, it's a fucking disgrace." Yeah, it's a fucking disgrace. Like the Mirror or someone did a piece on it because that night, like Eric or one of the he was 70 odd years old, was reffing at Soccer Dome, got attacked. And they somehow put 2 and 2 together and did a story on like how Didier Drogba was setting such a bad example that 70 septuagenarian referees at five-a-side were getting attacked. And obviously, one thing's got fuck all to do the other, but it made like a bit of a headline for them. But yeah, it was fucking horrible. Like it got to the point where, like, even though it was cash in hand, I just used to do anything to get out of reffing. I just thought, fuck it, I don't need the extra £7 a game or whatever it was you got. It was I think it was something like that.
I can't think of it now. I can't really think why it's no more.
Yeah, it's just it was fucking honestly.
Both of them, and there was one in Wigan as well. I think that's closed too.
Yeah, my local one's closed, but I think it's reopening. But we stopped.
Yeah, because it used to be JJB.
Yeah, it was JJB, then it was Power League. But when we used to play in the leagues, and I used to like, despite all the fucking dramas, quite enjoy it because it was kicking off and always like getting loads of shit. But then we just started playing against each other, and that's what we've done for the last sort of 12 years. But yeah, it was a fucking nightmare reffing there, mate, honestly. And it used to kick. One time I was at this game, I shouldn't even tell you this, but I will. And one of the fucking lads on one of the teams went to his car and got a gun because of the fucking. Because he was fucking that annoyed at the way the game was going. He went to his car and got a fucking gun out of his boot, and his mates had to fucking drag him out with his gun in his hand, like before he got nicked. I'm like, bro, it's not that deep, you know what I mean? Like, if you fucking like, you're ready to fucking kill people over a five-a-side game, take a long look at your life.
Didn't you say as well, Joe, that loads of people would have like heart attacks and stuff all the time?
Oh, mate, I shouldn't even laugh, right? Because it was serious, yeah. Like, we had the defibrillator there, and it was always getting took down to the pitches. And there was this thing like, the managers there had to have first aid, and then they tried to get everyone else to have first aid or other people. They gave it me once, right? And this is how bad it is. I went on this first aid course. This is when I was still fucking drinking and that. And I didn't pay a blind bit of attention to anything they fucking said, right? Me and my mate Stu were on it, chatting all the way through it, fucking about, like pissing about, making stupid comments, just being dicks, fucking messing about with the doll, you know, the dummy to get you and all that. Just being knobs, putting a headlock, yeah, just unfunny shit.
It's a sex doll.
Yeah, like the sort of thing that if I saw someone do now, I'd just fucking chin him. And it was just like, just being knobs. And at the end of it, we got past. It was like the fucking guy just hadn't been there for the last 2 hours or whatever and paid no attention to what had gone on. And next thing he's like, oh, yeah, you're first aid trained. I'm like, well, I'm not. I literally didn't even watch what they were telling me to do. And it's like, oh, yeah, someone just had a heart attack on pitch 12. Can you go down and fucking save their life? I'm like, no. So I had to just say, like, I'm not first aid trained. I'm not fucking doing a first aid course. I don't want the responsibility, because what you get is you get like, and I don't mean to be, flippant about it because it's obviously grim, but you'd get men like my age, 40 odd years old, who'd not played football for like 26 years, who'd turn up at the soccer dome where the fucking heat, like the fans were all goose, so it was red hot. They'd run around for an hour thinking the fucking Lionel Messi and then keel over.
Actually, a place couldn't be more designed for people to have heart attacks.
Yeah, because you've got like all these like mixed, and you'd have like, obviously it's mixed ages. There was a Masters League, but over 35s. But like, I wouldn't, like, if I was over 35, I wouldn't play in a Masters League. I'd just play in a normal league. Yeah. So you'd have like some teams where you've got like 5 teenagers against a team of fucking 40 odd year olds, and they're just running rings around them. And the fucking 40-year-old, like, you've got one of the 40-year-olds who's just turned up to make up the numbers. Who's not
or it's
the
like
ball.
Your first week at work and you're trying to impress your new mates.
Yeah,
work, say like,
Oh, we play five-a-side. Oh yeah, I've not exercised in any way, shape, or form since 1994. But I'll fucking come along and fucking run around for.
No, but you need players though. That's the thing, because my five-a-side team used to be on Friday nights, and like the amount of times, like an hour to go, like you'd end up with like 3 players.
Horrible, mate. Because I manage the team now. Like when we started playing the leagues, and our kid, because he was at like Rochdale and City, he knew loads of good players, and we did really well. Like, we started off because there's only space in the league below. Pissed that they did a tournament, we won that, got into the top league. When we lost 3 of our first 4 games because we didn't have enough players, we had to forfeit, and it was just like I had to knock it on the head, because it is, you get so many texts like, oh, can't make it or can't be arsed, basically.
And also the other people that just wouldn't pay their subs either, which was nice of them.
It was fucking hard work, and it was like, I remember it was like there was some good times. Like, I remember playing this team once, and they were fucking quite good, and they were like beating us, and then we have like a break. You have a break at our time, not a proper our time, like 2 minutes. And they must have all gone out and smoked loads of weed in that 2 minutes, because they all came back in stinking of weed and were fucking dreadful for the second half. Like, they were walking instead of running. They were fucking staring at the ball. Like, you shot past the keeper and he was still looking at me after I scored. Like, not even noticed. Like, genuinely, they were the fucking like worst team I've ever seen in my life. It went from about fucking it's like it went from about 4-0 to them to like 24 to us. Do you know what I mean? It was just like we were just scoring at will. And like they just lost
that. Sabotaging himself.
Yeah, they did. They literally must have gone out and that 2 minutes just sparked up and smoked as much fucking weed as they could, because they came in reeking of it. And like, we're just.
I'm gonna have a heart attack.
Yeah, they were just like, they just could not be less arsed if they tried. And like, there was a couple of the mates watching them shouting at him from the sidelines, and they were like arguing with them. Like, fuck off, man. It was fucking brilliant. Honestly, it was so chaotic when we used to do that, man. It was like, because I used to work there, I used to see fights all the time. But you think it sort of killed it because people just can't be asked for that, for like a recreation. You can't be asked fighting, like, unless you're mentally ill or fucking arguing all night. And you just think, you know what I mean? Like, you're paying for that as well. It was fucking crackers. So yeah, maybe the Brazil-Argentina game's got to touch it out.
Yeah, well, I found a story on
the fucking Wednesday night.
The Wales Online about a footballer actually wielding an axe, which is pretty much sort of round our way. So it's kind of what happens. Vale Athletic and Solly Sports in Barry, which is about 2 miles away from where I am. And football match was abandoned after a player allegedly wielded an axe on the pitch. And yeah,
what, you did bring it with him then, obviously.
Click on the thing that I sent in the chat.
In the WhatsApp or in this chat?
In private chat, should be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, bro. Let's have a look here. Can you... Oh, my God. Wields an axe on the pitch. An investigation has now been launched after the referee. Can you share that?
Yeah, if you want... Hang on.
Share that with the screen. Because I don't know, I always struggle with it for some reason. That's fucking bonkers. That reminds me of a time I worked as a barman in a pub in Essex and someone went to the car when it was kicking off and got an axe. Right, I've put it on screen now, as you can see.
Was this a video?
Wales Online.
Look at this.
Jesus.
Has he got an axe on his hand there?
This is what his mate's taking him away.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Turning up with an axe.
Understood that the player substituted himself off, went to his car nearby, and returned to the pitch with a small hand axe and confronted someone on the pitch.
Yeah, I like that. I like that he was like, not only did he, I mean, obviously he was willing to break the law of the land, but he wasn't willing to break the law of football because he subbed himself off before going to the pitch. He didn't just like he didn't just run off. He was like, right, ref, let's do this properly. If you're going to get an axe, let's do it the right way. Yeah. I think at that point, mate, you've broken too many rules, haven't you? Let's just run off the pitch and get the axe if you're going to get the axe. Don't worry about the sub. Unbelievable.
That is ridiculous. That's fucking worse than my man with a gun. Hey, gonna get an axe, fucking hell. You know you're backing down from that argument when someone brings out a fucking axe to it. 100%. What'll happen now then with the Brazil-Argentina thing? Like,
it'll probably get rearranged, I reckon.
Because that's just like you were saying, Joe, for them to do it after the game is obviously making a show of it. Would Argentina not get in trouble then as well? Like, not Argentina, sorry.
But I think it was the Argentina players that were the problem for Argentina players.
Not Argentina. Brazilian. Will the Brazilian authorities not get in trouble from FIFA or something for allowing?
Probably
doing it that way.
They should have seen them in the first place coming there and said at the border force there should have been some sort of conversation when they went through the airport where someone said, "Are you going to quarantine when you come here?" Or something along those lines. They're just that.
Is it the Premier League players?
Yeah,
they were after?
Yeah, it's the four Premier League players.
So, just sorry to fucking be that boring guy, but I'd say, is this why did some of the Premier League Brazilian players not go?
Yeah, because the issue is, so before you could get an elite sport exemption for countries that were on the red list to travel to, but I think that's now gone. So there's the issue with Cavani as well at United. He wants to travel to play for Uruguay, but because they're on the red list and Brazil is as well, you've got to quarantine, I think, for 14 days when you come back. But I think there's an issue as well on the Brazil side of things. If you're coming from the UK, you have to quarantine there as well, and they didn't do it.
Ah, right, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because I saw it. Because I saw a picture. I don't know if you saw it. Was it like Fred and a few of the other Brazilians from City, Edison, and them having something to eat? I think in town. Because a few people like kicking off about it, but I don't really give a shit, to be honest with you.
Apparently, there's a Brazilian players WhatsApp group for all the Premier League Brazilian players.
So surely then they haven't gone, have they? The Brazilian players haven't gone to play for Brazil from the Premier League.
No.
So
They were.
why have the
in town,
Argentinian players gone? Because I thought, didn't they say that all the Premier League teams were saying you can't go? Wasn't that announced like a week ago or something? And then they're all just there getting arrested on the pitch and shit, getting sprayed with disinfectant and stuff. Well, how's that happened?
I think they just. I don't know. I think it sounds like they just thought, "Fuck it, we'll go anyway." Like we just do what we want. Do you know what I mean? Like it is crazy to think that you've been told you can't go, but you're just gonna go anyway. Like hope no one notices. Because it's like Buendia, Martinez, Lo Celso, and Romero. Yeah, I'll add it to the stream now.
Just go. I like that. Just going anyway. Just leaving work and just going to Argentina or going to Brazil. A lad who I know, he started a job, and he basically just blagged the interview, just lied. Essentially, was like, what customer service? I can do databases, yeah. And then by the time he got there, it wasn't like a database for like data entry. It was like building databases, and he was like he realized immediately that he couldn't do any of the work, and he was like didn't know what to do. So the first few days he was like hoping he could like Google it and do it online and sort of learn it as he was doing it. But again, he went home and was like stayed up till 3-4 in the morning, just couldn't get any of it to go in. Because obviously building a database is something you need a degree and years of experience. So instead of quitting, he just moved to Croatia for a month and just didn't tell anyone. Just left the country. And then he emailed him saying, "I don't think I can do this job. I've got to go." And then he just moved away, and then deleted his email account and just came back and never spoke about it ever. Never went back into work. Never said sorry. Never did anything. Just moved country instead of quitting. He was too embarrassed.
I love that. I actually love that. I love the fact that not only did he just quit and just like ghost them all, but he actually emigrated for a month.
Just moved.
Yeah, like I'm gonna move to Croatia.
What did he do in Croatia?
He said he just was like had a holiday, didn't check his email, or he was too scared to check his emails, and then just came back.
Reminds me of the sorry, I was gonna say, did you hear about that idiot, the British guy that went to Afghanistan because he liked going to dangerous places and then got stuck there when the Taliban took over it?
Yeah, that was so stupid. That especially when obviously like places on the airplane back were looking precious, and he just wasted one of them. Like, just
did he get back? Then?
Him out.
Yeah,
he got back. But like, what does that prove? It's just one of those things where it's like, oh, it's a prank or whatever, but it's not actually funny.
It's not even remotely.
It's like the guy that threw himself in the Thames for a YouTube prank and then realised he couldn't swim.
Did he die?
Really?
No. He had to get the lifeboats out to rescue him.
Realised he couldn't swim.
Do you remember when David Blaine sat in a box above the Thames for 45 days?
Yeah.
As like a test of endurance, and like people were going there and shouting abuse at him and throwing things at him.
I love that.
Makes you proud to be British when you hear things like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, we'll go fucking show him. We're not having any of this.
Didn't he apparently like sneak out and stuff at night and like do a win?
There was rumours that he was actually that his vitamins that he was taking were more than vitamins, because he was allowed to take vitamin supplements and water or something. I think that was what it was. And it was like, well, actually, he's taking sort of things that if me or you just lived off that, we could do what he's doing. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
There was nothing like, I don't know, I might be wrong, but like that was the fucking rumours going around, and it just became a bit pointless because like no one was that impressed with it. No one fucking wanted him there. It just was it just seemed stupid. This arbitrary, I'm going to spend this amount of days in a box above the Thames, and it was just like, well, fuck off. No one wants you to do that. So yeah, in the end, and plus he got a bit weird because you remember when he was pretty like cool, what he David Blaine did the adverts for the cars and that, with his tricks, and then he started being all like, when he went on, was it Richard and Judy with a fucking eye on his hand and all that?
Yeah, he got all moody, didn't he?
Yeah,
he's amazingly impressive. Though. I used to love doing magic tricks as a kid. I got into magic tricks when I was like 10, 11. Got a few card tricks under my belt. Thought I'd press the birds, mate. Yep.
Yeah.
Did it get me anywhere? Did it fuck? Did it heck? put down the cards, pick up some personality. That's what I'd say. That's what will get you there.
My kids love card tricks.
Yeah, they're great.
Fucking go berserk for them. Honestly, it's a good shout. So I should fucking.
You should learn a few. There's some pretty simple ones.
My dad does them, my dad does them, and they go fucking ballistic over them. They can't because you can't work them out if they think it's proper magic. It is sick.
Yeah.
Have you got sound on this?
Yeah, I should have.
All right. I'm going to share this with you. This is what I was telling you about. This guy who threw himself in the Thames. Yeah. Hang on. Here we go.
All right. Let's see. Oh, why is it not playing sound?
I can't hear that. I don't think it's playing sound.
Is that something that I have to do? Hang on a minute. Wait a minute. Let me see.
Go on, Jay.
Do
you have to allow it or something?
It's not giving the option of sound. I don't think you can have sound. Sorry. So what is this? The guy that did it?
It's the guy who jumped off, and basically someone phones up and calls them an idiot. Basically, just goes into him, and it's quite funny because he's forced to apologise to this old woman that calls him irresponsible and really silly and stuff. Dead funny.
Is that on Ian Dale's show as well? But he was fucking loving that one. He's proper sanctimonious. I'm surprised I didn't get Nick Ferrari on it to fucking shout at him and tell him how much of a disgrace he is and how he's the worst prankster in the history of the human race.
No, but there was a period of people just doing really stupid things on YouTube for pranks. Do you remember the people that used to just go to McDonald's and stay overnight or IKEA? Just hide.
Do you know what? Did we talk about this the other week when my uncle got sacked from United because of it? Did you're fucking laughing at?
Yeah, because
it's not funny that he got sacked, but the story's funny.
Yeah, because there's this Arsenal fan. I can't remember. I think there's two of them, and
Yusuf Ahmadi, I think his name is. Yeah,
and basically, my uncle was on a tour. He was fucking horrible as well because he worked at United for 18 years. A massive red, my uncle Mike. He's always on that United fan archives thing, posting old pictures of himself and my cousins. Growing up wearing kits and all that, just followed United home and away since the 60s, just fucking proper mad United fan. Gets a job at a club, dream job. As he's older, he's stop fucking going away as much, and he's just a bit more of a not almost semi-retired. So getting a job on the museum tour is manna from heaven. Anyway, he worked there for about 18 years. Does a tour, and you met her do a head count and all that, but I can't remember why he'd done it, but they fucking got around it somehow, do you know what I mean? Hid in the toilets or wherever they'd hidden and filled themselves with it. I think it's the Arsenal game, wasn't it? And anyway, it went viral and the club sacked him. They just fucking let him go. You said he got called into a meeting and it was just right, you have to let it go because of negative publicity and all that. He was fucking gutted. So I put some on Twitter about it, and then loads of people were tweeting it and retweeting it, Scott Laird and people like that. It was I had fucking a few thousand retweets and stuff. And then it must have got back to the guy who did the prank. And he'd said it was him and did not really sort of a half-hearted apology, an apology that wasn't an apology. So next thing you know, me and him are getting into it on Twitter and fucking arguing and arranging to meet each other to fight.
Meet me in the Old Trafford toilets midnight.
Yeah, which I'm dead against. I fucking hate that.
Outside the mega store, 2 p.m.
Yeah, arranging and fighting on the internet is fucking stupid. And it was just when your blood's boiling though, and you're fucking dickhead and all that. Because it's family honour and all this shit. My Uncle Mike deserves better. It was just ridiculous. But yeah, it was just a shit prank as well, because I think he got out of there, got chucked out anyway. It was just he didn't fuck. I don't
like to the death at Exchange Quay tram station.
Yeah, exactly. It was honestly, the prank was shit and fucking.
That shit that they sacked him, and shit that they didn't reinstate him as well after they realised
he worked there for so long. It was fucking horrible. But there was a statement of just doing
do you remember when people used to post themselves to France, where they just get in a box and just get pushed to France? Like, and they were all just fake. They just pretended, and you just see someone that was clearly just got a ferry over to France, got in a box for 1 second, and then burst out and be like, "We've made it." We just happened to be at the ferry port, exactly where you'd want to be. We didn't wash to the USA or die like we actually would if it was real. We landed exactly at fucking Calais.
Do you remember, I've ever seen those stories as well? The evening news always used to do them. I don't know if you've seen them where you guys are from or when you've been in Manchester, Joe. But like people who've got levered and ended up abroad.
Yeah.
Like going out on a night out and like I remember there was this girl and it was like, oh, she'd gone out on a night out and ended up in like Crete or somewhere. And it was like, and they had like a quote from a boss saying, "I was angry when I found out, but then I just thought that's just so typical of her." What do you mean that's typical of her? What? She often fucking doesn't turn up for work because she's in Crete. Yeah, because she's levered out of her head.
Yeah,
and also,
where are you? International Space Station, would you believe? Oh, it's classic Sonia. Classic Sonia.
What's he like?
See you on Monday, you ditzy cow.
And what sort of fucking like security have they got at these airports? If people are that levered, they're getting on planes and they can't even fucking remember or know where they are or what they're doing. It was just like...
You say that, but that must mean they've either gone home to get the passport or they were using the passport as their ID.
Yeah, exactly. It's either bollocks or there's just a complete lack of any fucking security.
No, but I've got to use my passport as ID because I don't drive.
That might be it. But it does sound a bit...
people have gone home to get their passport.
I'm not being funny, right? I've been
Tenerife
steaming Army Head loads of times, but you'd at least have a moment of clarity where you're like, hang on a minute, what the fuck am I doing at the airport?
I think it's more you wake up with the regret of deciding to go on holiday at 4 a.m. rather than wake up literally not knowing what country you're in. There's no way that's happened. You just woke up and you're in Alicante. That just doesn't happen, does it? And then also, where did you manage to make your way to a hotel, or you just slumped over in the airport on the other side?
That's what I mean. It's just like it doesn't make sense. There was a few of them, like, you know, you've seen them like lad fucking books holiday to Kos and ends up in Kosovo. Just shit like that as well. Have you seen that one? It's like, well,
have you seen that the Confessions of an Ibiza, the drug mule program on BBC Three about some? Sorry, I get to the point.
I always love the word drug mule, by the way. Like, turn him into some sort of farm animal. Just because
the story is like this like Irish girl apparently went to the airport and basically got tricked into basically becoming like a human trafficking thing for drugs, and like went along with the story without realizing that she was involved in this massive drug thing. It's all I think it's bollocks.
Really?
I can see some people getting like intimidated into something like that, though.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Banged Up Abroad?
Oh yeah.
There was a few of them who they were being kind. They were very naive, and it was like, oh, if you just take this case back with you, I'll give you 20 grand. Yeah. What's in it? Nothing. Just some stuff. Yeah, just stuff. Things for me mum. Yeah, just some stuff that I said I'd get her. Oh, right, okay, yeah, no worries. I didn't know it was all heroin. And next thing you know, I'm in a Thailand jail for the next 30 years. I couldn't believe it. Never broken the law before in my life. I was gutted. What's this? Is this? Let's have a look here. What Youngy's got?
What we got?
Confessions of an Ibiza drug mule.
Hang on.
Oh,
you didn't see that.
Breaking the law. Meant to be a man of the people.
Hey, there we
He's
go.
got his ad blocker on.
One half of the Peru too.
Oh my god! Look at this, is upsetting. Come on, buy the Guardian and then you use an ad blocker.
There we go. Stop it before the ads start. There we go.
Right.
There we go.
Thank you for disabling.
So what happened with these two? The Peru two? Are they still in jail? Or did they get out?
Two.
I know that's so shit, innit? That's like birds of a feather. The Chigwell too.
Parents of older teenage daughters may feel grateful for this summer's travel restrictions once they've watched the BBC Three documentary, Hi, Confessions of a Drug Mule. The confessor was Michaela McCullum, one half of the so-called Peru 2, a pair of British young women who made headlines in 2013 after they were arrested at Lima Airport attempting to smuggle 11 kilograms of coke out of Peru and back into Spain.
11 kilograms!
Looking at the size of them, they'd struggle to lift 11 kilograms. we didn't know
through
what
the
it
airport
was.
with a suitcase full of fucking coke, carrying it between them like, what? Oh, no, I didn't realise.
I was told about what this? What this sack? This sack full of drugs.
What do you mean? I had no idea.
remember
What happened
that-
with him? Did they like? Are they still eating porridge? Or
I've not seen it.
that sounds like one of them ones where like the mum writes to like the home secretary or the foreign secretary. Sorry, says, "Oh, she's a lovely girl. She just went on holiday. She's not like that. This is, she needs to be brought home.
Yeah.
Oh, she can't cope over there."
A home office spokesperson says, "We do not comment on individual cases." Full stop.
Especially not with thick swats who've
What do you mean we
smuggled
don't
11
comment
kilograms
on
of
individual
cocaine.
cases?
They always say that.
Yeah. I don't understand that. We don't comment on individual. But if there was a cluster of cases or a big group of cases all happen at once, we might comment on that. Maybe they mean the actual case that the drugs was in. Maybe that's what they were questioned about.
I love that. I saw one of those. There was one of those banged up abroad ones where he went. There's this guy, and he went to like fucking like literally Thailand or somewhere abroad to pick up. It was something like that. It was like 5 kilograms of cocaine or something. And when he got it got delivered to the hotel where he was staying, and then his job was to bring it over to the UK. And he said like he had this idea of putting it in condoms and eating it, and like it showed like a reconstruction of this massive brick of coke. And he said like after I'd had like 30 balloons, it hadn't gone down at all. Filled himself full of sniff with like, and he's only got about 8 hours before they all start bursting. His flight's like 7 hours, and he's got it was the most harebrained scheme I've ever seen in my life. It was like the shittiest suicide attempt ever. And he like, and in the end, he gave up, right, on trying to eat all these balloons, and then just put it in his suitcase anyway. But he's still got the balloons inside him, right? And he got to fucking, it was in Australia, I think, that was it. And he's flying. And he went like it was something like he went from Australia to fucking like whatever, New Zealand or whatever. And he got stopped at the airport and they did a search and like did a reconstruction. He got picked randomly, like we're going to check your suitcase. They checked his suitcase and he put like this sniff at the bottom of his suitcase, like underneath a book or something stupid. And he fucking found it. And then he found it and he went, well, I may as well tell you, I've swallowed 20 fucking bags of fucking sniff in condoms. And they went, what? And he went, yeah, I've swallowed like, you may as well know, I've swallowed fucking 20 grams. And he went, we need to give you an x-ray. And one of them had burst in his intestine.
No.
And he had to do an emergency operation on him that ended up saving his life.
Hang on, I found it.
And the mad thing as well with that is, if you think about how much coke you'd be able to get in a condom, the condom is taking up like 10 times more space in your stomach than the coke is.
Yeah.
You'd have to have, like you said, it barely made a dent.
That's what I mean. It was so fucked up. Yeah.
62. Oh, for fuck's sake, James. Turn the ad blocker off. He's shamed.
There we go.
He's ashamed. Look at this.
Is this the guy? This might be him. There was a picture of him, and he was on Banged Up Abroad, yeah, like 62 balloons. What is it? One of them exploded. What is it? Oh no, this is something else. I think this is another guy that's done it. It's a similar thing though, because yeah, he ingested 62 balloons of cocaine before boarding the flight. But one of the bags exploded in the air. Hill had to call 911 himself once he landed and checked into a hotel. Yeah, so that's like a different guy, but he's gone through a similar experience where he's had to ring the police himself or the ambulance to say, like, hang on a minute, I've got coke fucking bursting out my stomach lining.
There's only one way to say this. I've eaten 62 balloons worth of coke and one of them's burst. We've all been there. I expect no further questions.
You know what I loved about the one when I watched it on Banged Up Abroad as well? He got delivered, right, this big fucking block of fucking sniff. And he spent the first, like, week just sniffing in his own town.
What else is he going to do? Let me see if I can take a corner off it.
On the reconstruction, it had like a rolled up note, and like him sat there on the bed like that, like. That was part of the plan. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll sniff half of it, right? Just have it, and I'll take the rest back in Johnny's.
Yeah, and get murdered for how much I've had.
Yeah,
also,
honestly, it was so
it makes it even better that you realise that the idea to have it in the condoms was an idea he hatched whilst he was on coke as well. So it was just, what I'll do, I'll fucking put it in Johnny's and just swallow it. I'll just swallow it.
It was so harebrained. It was so stupid. Like, imagine as well, like, you're going to this foreign country to pick up all this coke and you haven't got a jar of glue. How are you going to get it back? Like, you haven't even thought about that much. You're just sitting there in your room sniffing. Honestly, mate. It was
Have you seen that program? Is it 24 Hours in Sunsea and A&E? That's the one. So it's like people in Spain that are on holiday and they've had too much to drink and they've ended up in hospital, and it's like, I've had like a dart thrown in my leg and I can't remember how it's happened or something like random like that.
I mean,
those shows.
Quality. There's nothing worse, man, being fucking hospitalised when you're abroad. Are we going to?
It nearly happened to me, right?
Yeah,
I was in Spain the other week, right? And I was watching the Leeds game with my dad, right? And then afterwards, it was going great. I'd won, brilliant. Anyway, but after that, I don't remember anything. I just remember waking up with, like, loads of bruises. And like, I think someone spiked us because I was like sick, like everywhere, like 20 times. Couldn't walk. Like, I was just stumbling all over the place. And wasn't good. I just don't remember anything.
Was your dad all right?
Yeah, he was similar. He was like, because we were only drinking beer. Like, I had like 5 or 6 pints, and then like next minute, it was just like couldn't walk. It's dead weird.
That is weird. It happens a lot though abroad as well. When I worked in Mali, it was rife.
We were at the that neighbourhood festival yesterday.
I saw the pictures they were seeing.
Yeah, and Sam Fender was on, and he had to stop the show because someone at the front was like passed out or collapsed or something. They were getting all the medics in, and he had to stop the show. And then he went off for 2 minutes, came back on, and someone else had passed out or collapsed or been hurt or whatever, and they had to get the medics on again. So he went off twice because of that. And I don't know whether it was drugs or people getting squashed or just something else, but 3 different people where people were like coming in the crowd and they had to go and get them and take them away. But scary, especially after everyone's basically had 18 months off going mental. And then you try and do it all at once. And, I used to have a bottle of wine for pre-drinks, and then you do it and then it's gone. Or like you said, even worse, someone spikes you or something like that. But yeah, terrifying. That was made it all a bit like, don't like this anymore.
Yeah, and also I think people would just get it's like a kid at a school disco that's had too much to drink, but like an adult version that's like 10 times worse. Instead of like Panda Pops, it's like Coke or booze. Or like, I was at a gig on Tuesday and or Wednesday, and there was this man and he was trying to buy drinks, and like the poor woman, she was like, "You need to pay," and he was like, "I have paid," and she's like, "No, you haven't." It's like, "Yes, I have," and he was getting like really, really aggressive to the point where he was like shouting in her face that I've already paid, like really, really angry, like just idiot, and he got escorted out over a pint.
Yeah, madness. Not worth it, is it?
No, it isn't. Just like eating 20 condoms full of sniff isn't worth it either. So just remember
2 or 3,
that, kids.
sure.
2 or 3, yeah, that's your limit. We'll do it. We'll wrap it up then if you want. Do a shorter version. We've got no Scotty, but we'll be back soonish. We think he's busy at the minute, doing all his writing and everything else that he's doing. But that's been Youngy, that's been Joe, and I've been Motty, and we'll have Scotty back for what is Scotty, Motty, Youngy and Joe. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.